The huge challenge of bringing the Magic Roundabout to the big screen was the work of a groundbreaking French animation studio based in the south of France on the outskirts of Marseille.
The film is really groundbreaking because we're working on a scale that's never been attempted in France. It's barely been attempted in all of Europe.
The French technician and artist is the first real occasion they had to prove they are good at that job and they can do a real CGI animation movie, feature movie. So I'm very happy for them because it's a great opportunity to prove their skills.
Like any major film, the Magic Roundabout had to be pre-visualized before a single frame of animation could be produced. Pre-visualization is the process by which every aspect of how the film will look is worked out in advance. It's like making a rough sketch of the movie, and it's done not on computers, but with old-fashioned paper and pens.
This is the design department, which begins with storyboarding the shots from the film, which is a process with the director, the art director, storyboard artists, the script writers, to really get a visual idea of how the film is coming together.
Storyboards are simple black and white line drawings of every shot in the film, which help everyone decide exactly what will be in those shots and where the camera will be.
So this is the storyboard department and the art design department. You can see on the wall here we've got a lot of the sequences from the film. So the storyboard is a vision of the film for the director to visualize how the shots go together, to visualize all the movements in the film, to basically get a really good idea of how the film's cutting together before we actually go and do any work on the computer.
Once the storyboards have been agreed on, the team prepares an animatic.
There! Head for the tallest mountain in that range.
That's the spirit, Brian.
This is where the storyboards are strung together against a rough soundtrack of the whole film, so that everyone can see how it will flow. The animatic will act as a precise timing guide for the animators later on down the line. At this stage, the movie still exists only in black and white drawings.
From there, they push through and take a look at color palettes for the various shots in the film. And then these are shown to the lighting, texturing teams to really give an idea of what the shot's finally going to look like.
The art director will work up a giant scrapbook of layouts, colors, and designs, which will be used as a master reference by everyone working on the film.
There's only one art director on a film, typically. And this one art director has to be in a lot of places at the same time. So he's able to direct the design artists and the storyboard artists, and then by passing the palettes and the storyboards and the ambiance onto the other teams, he's able to communicate what he wants without physically being there all the time to say, you know, this should be more yellow or more red. When you have a reference like this, it's pretty much you just go. You're like, okay, the lasers are purple.
The artists who create the wonderful backgrounds for the film will use these references to create the two-dimensional paintings of the movie's many colorful landscapes. Aside from these background paintings, every object you see in the movie has had to be designed and built in the computer. Not just the obvious things like this train, but even the sets themselves. But of course, the most important 3D objects are the characters. In designing the Magic Roundabout, the characters already had a look familiar to the TV series. But in making the leap to the 3D world, some changes would definitely have to be made.
Hello, it's Ermintrude. And for the movie, we have redrawn this character. And we have now Ermintrude with a nose. In the TV show, we haven't. It's because in 3D, Animating have big face with no details. For this reason, we have had a nose.
Working from these rough drawings, the animators would then build each character a 3D model. To enable the characters to move in a lifelike way, the model then has to be fitted to a skeleton or bones.
This structure
of bones will deform the true body. We can see him here. This is the same bones in another screen mode, and we can move each bones of the character, and it will deform the character like we want.
Having designed a whole range of preset poses for each character, the team can work much more quickly when it comes to the final animation.
The character setups that we're using, the actual character rig setups to animate the characters are fairly complicated as far as those that have been done in Softimage before. We're doing a lot of the animation in an automatic kind of way to try and get as much as we can for free.
We have a lot of expression developed by the department of modeling. The smile, she can smile, she can close his eyes, and so on.
Even the different mouth shapes a character makes as it speaks can be pre-programmed and recalled at the click of a mouse.
A or O, U.
Meanwhile, the other members of the team would be working on making the 3D characters to look realistic to the camera, adding materials to create skin, hair, and clothing. Dougal was a particular challenge because his character is almost all hair, and hair is still quite difficult to do in 3D.
It's particularly difficult because normally hair doesn't act. If I ask an actor to, yeah, please, could you act with your hair? Just say I can act with maybe my fingers, my body, but act with my hair. You have to convey his feelings with his hair. So that's very difficult because technically we have to add a lot of controls inside the hair.
The special computer software used on the Magic Roundabout can also make the animator's job easier with a really clever trick known as Dynamics. Dynamics automatically calculates how objects will move when subjected to different real-world forces like gravity and wind.
We can choose to add wind in the air with the speed of the wind speed to change the strongest of the wind and so on.
Of course, computers are very clever, but when working in 3D, there are lots of things they need to be told about how the world actually works.
Animation for detection of the floor. Here we have a grid represent the floor, and if we move the leg couldn't go under the floor.
Meanwhile, using the Animatic as a guide, another set of animators are working on turning the storyboards into finished animations.
This is the animation department where we start out by doing a rough layout for the scenes, which is to really put together the film together in rough really quickly.
The layout is the first impact of 3D. It's a very simple 3D, but it looks like 3D.
Get an idea of light direction, get an idea of camera motion, get an idea of how the continuity of the film is going, whether we're building the right kind of tensions in the right kind of places, whether just interesting things are going on.
In traditional animation, every single frame of the action has to be drawn individually. On the Magic Roundabout, much of the animation was carried out using a process known as keyframing. This involves setting up different poses for the character at different moments along the timeline and getting the computer to calculate the frames in between.
We can, at the first frame, put a key to record the position and the rotation of the character at this time. And if we choose to go another time after another frame, we can change the position and the rotation. We can record the position, the rotation, and we have a movement between the two frames.
So it's a good blend of getting really good keyframe animation and then getting some of the motion for free, either with Dynamics or with some secondary scripting that we've done.
It's a long and painstaking process. But once everything has come together, background painting, character models, textures and materials, the animation itself, and in the case of the Magic Roundabout, a plentiful helping of special effects, each shot has to be rendered at a very high resolution and recorded out to film.
For the lighting of a shot, we would typically have between 2 and 3 days per shot to light the scene and do a couple render tests before we throw it out to do a final film render.
I think a lot of things in this movie should be new. It's not exactly the same look as the American AGI movie.
We're giving it sort of an interesting visual style and showing some cool effects as well.